It's just a disgrace that your tax dollars, more than $1 million of them, were paid to an overseas media agency to identify these posts, and the government then asked them to be taken down, denying you access to accurate information and reasonable debate. Let me bring in Senator Alex Antic, joining us live from Adelaide. Good to talk to you, Alex. You've been through these 4,000 posts now. What stands out about the detail of what our government was trying to have censored?
Yeah, well, Chris, look, thanks for having me on and thanks for reporting it, I have to say. It puts you in an elite bracket of journalists in this country that seem to be actually interested in this. And there is a heap. I mean, there are a lot of entries there. 4,200 were reported in this spreadsheet, and you highlighted some of them there. And we expected, of course, there would be some pretty crazy, pretty wacky ones that were censored, and you could mount an argument as to the value of that or not. But the thing that's most alarming is it confirmed what we suspected, which was that there would be a lot of posts that were actually true, things about the COVID vaccine not stopping transmission, things about masks, even things that were just simply people poking fun at various political leaders, which used to be a rite of passage in this country, that were all identified by a foreign-owned PR company at great expense to the taxpayer, and then referred on to foreign-owned social media companies, both of whom were part of this censorship industrial complex designed to sort of shut down the free speech of Australian citizens. Now, I find this utterly appalling and entirely alarming, particularly when you look at the spectre of this combating misinformation and disinformation bill that's designed to provide a new code for ACMA and to provide the government really with a codified legislated version of what we saw during the COVID pandemic. Australians need to wake up to this pretty quickly, and we need the journalistic class as well to start reporting on this so that Aussies know what's going on.
Yeah, it is frightening. I was pleased to see that the Australian editorialised this morning about this story, about what you've revealed and how this demonstrates just how this new law, the new misinformation provisions are so dangerous. But it's shocking that we don't see politicians from all the major parties arcing up about this and more of the media. Why hasn't this attracted a lot more media attention? They all seem to have been complicit and therefore want to turn a blind eye.
Yeah, well, look, Chris, I think there's a lot of media outlets that are still licking their wounds from having been consistently wrong over the COVID period and consistently unable to pick out the flaws with some of the things that happened. I mean, the mandated vaccination policy, the mask policy, the lockdown policies that inhabited this country over those 2 to 3 years were in many cases championed by media outlets. And, certainly that is true of the political class as well. I think we've now got many that are doing almost like that meme of Homer Simpson backing into the hedge that you'd see occasionally floating around on Twitter. But the reality is we don't forget, and we know who was their champion. I've got to pay credit to you and your reporting over the course of this journey. You were certainly front and centre on this, and that's why it's important that journalists continue to do that task, which is reported as it is not just simply be a small piece in the censorship industrial complex that started to evolve in this country.
Well, thanks for joining us, Alex, and we'll continue to keep in touch with you on this. It's just got to be exposed, and we've got to stop this sort of stuff happening in the future. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Chris.